Hey everyone, you're back with Bravo doing another episode on Dyson Sphere program. In this episode I'm going to be going over my basic setup I did since episode 1 and how to get electric motor factory started up. So yeah, let's jump straight into it. What I've gone through and done is set up a basic bus system here. I've got my magnetic coils here, and I have my circuit boards here and my cogs here. Now I've set them out like this so I can run two lines of factories here. So I put them side by side and I can extend this down as I go. This will also allow me to run these down the side here. Okay, and the reason I put the wind turbines in between these is because when you get to later on in the game, satellite power distribution, you unlock these satellite substations and they give you a much wider area of power transfer to work in, and they are 3 squares wide and a wind turbine is 3 squares wide. So eventually, if I wanted to go through and pull these up, I can put the satellites in and use less towers in the vicinity. Normally when I get to later on in the game, I just leave all these here rather than pulling them all up because they do produce some power. Now, I've spoken about the equator in the first episode and I've built this 11 off. That's not set, you can make that whatever you want it to be. I just went this distance because I missed the stone over here. Now with the equator I run my solar panels either side of the equator and I go the whole way around the entire planet. So as you can see, I've started doing landfill across here. This is the equator line. And I will go the whole way around, and that's because when you have an entire ring of solar panels around the entire planet, no matter what time of day it is on the dark side, I'll still be getting full power, because on the light side the solar panels will be receiving energy from the sun. And I like to run that early game because it provides a lot of power right through to, you know, mid to game to high game, end game. So you know, usually until hydrogen fuel rods and then deuterium fuel rods, they provide a lot more energy in your mini fusion reactors. But solar will get you right through. You won't have to burn really much coal in the thermal ones. So over here you have thermal power. Now the thermal power plant can burn, I believe, just coal, but if you furnace the coal into the energetic graphite, yeah, you can use this in your mecha and you can burn that in those thermal reactors and it'll provide enough power. So I just wanted to go through some tips and tricks on how I've done this bus here. So you can see I have one of these sorters on a bend. Now before I went ahead and built anything too crazy further on, because I do want to show everyone in this video how I build my electric motor factory, right? It is really resource demanding for iron ingots, so you need 2 iron ingots and a cog, a gear, sorry, and an a magnetic coil. So if you were to build a bunch of these, because you're only processing these, so I'm not sure how many you build per minute, but it is very slow, so you want a lot, which means you need a lot of iron ingots, and 1 belt of iron ingots coming down from my little furnace system up here isn't enough. Even with an upgraded belt and full furnaces for the belt line, it's not enough. Like, the iron ingots will just be getting pulled off before they get further down the line. So what I was going to build over here was a little furnace system off this iron here, this iron node. And you can build this wherever. You could build it next to it and then transfer it straight in, which is normally what I would do. And in fact, that's what I will do. Sorry, because the equator's here. So I'm going to build a furnace line over here. Now working one off this, usually you can put a belt down, so I'll probably have the ore, the ingots coming out, and then the ore going in. So I'll put it in line with these, it's along that line there. Okay, and I'll go double white. And just go however many deep. You could work it all out if you want, but I just go this many, and if it backs up, it backs up. I can just add more on. We'll bring that in, bring this out. Now we'll probably bring that out further this way and this side in. So here you can see you can't build it unless you have enough on top. As such, if you go up, you can build it here and it should come down to there. But sometimes if you were to come around the corner first and then go up, it won't let you build here. You'll have to go here and then come down. Then it's red, so you'll have to go over to here. But I can't because that's there. What you can do is you build it and then you press X and you take this end off. Shift left click on the item you want to copy the build of, click it and it'll come down, and that will reduce this gap underneath. It'll reduce how wide this raise is here, and that was really handy when I learned that. And again, you can come back even further and possibly do it here like that, and now it's extremely minimal, but you will see the iron ore clipping possibly through the belt, so it's not really a preferred one. But again, I normally just start from here, go up, build it on top of this belt, and then come down onto that, and that's fine. So when I'm setting out my factory, I normally just build all these like this so I know where to run my belts to. Then I'll select what it is on each side, build the sorters, and then I will shift left click on the furnace, and as you can see, it copies the sorters as well. Now it won't build it if the belts, it will build in there if the belt's not there, but I like to have the belt in first because sometimes when you run the belt to the sorter it may not connect. So I build the furnaces and then I copy them in. This side here will be different. As you can see, the sorter's in the middle on the left, where the sorter is going to be on this edge on the right side. So you copy this one and run that down. So a lack of item there, just have to build a few more. Okay, copy, and then put them in there, wait for that to build, done. Now you don't need the furnaces in, you can build this without them. And you can copy paste once you have blueprints, but I don't have that, but you can left click on it and then you can just build them and it'll build the furnace for you. Now if you had your belts in, it would have built the arms as well, and I'll show you. The sorters, sorry, not arms. Like that. Builds all of them in together. But now you can see my belts run long, so I'd have to try and work that out, which is why I like to build the furnaces first so I know how long my belts will be out. A couple of wind turbines on this side, and one of these on this side. Okay. Now I have to allow for the bus here when I bring this ore in. So when placing the miners, I said it in my first episode, if you hold shift left, like hold your shift button down and then hold R, it'll turn rather than doing this, because you may not be able to get them where you want, that way, here or here. So if you hold it down, you can actually maneuver the miner where you'd like it. Wherever the best position will be for you to get the most amount of iron nodes, or ore nodes, it depends. So I want to try and... I'm going to have to put 3 miners down. I'm not going to be able to get this in 2. Maybe? The best thing about this, if you hold shift, it doesn't snap to a planet line. So you can make those very minor adjustments to try and encompass all of the nodes. And I don't... Oh! Yes! Alright, I got it. See, just like that, you can maneuver them exactly how you need it. But I don't think I'll get a belt. No, so I'll have to destroy it. That's okay. I'm gonna run a couple anyway. Oops. So that will power that, and then I shall do this to link this up. I'll show you that afterwards. Now, when you're running your belts, in my first game, I ran them square, so I'd go here, and then here, and then here, and then here, and over here, and try and link them up to a splitter. But you can do it like that if you like everything being square, but for my miners, I wasn't a fan of it. And I found out you can do this trick. If you cycle through your building on the belt, you press R, don't hold it, just press it. It'll change its direction. So at the moment it's building like this, pressing R will give you this. And press R again. That's not going to do it. Okay, I'll show you something in a second, but I'll just build this. So I like to build like this for my miners, just to try and shrink the belt line around the deposit. And I'll set it up on this planet line here. Now you can just run the lines into each other, but I like to run a splitter, especially if you have more than 2 miners. Just like that. That sort of minimizes how much space the belts will take, otherwise like I could have gone... Anyways, you get the idea. So I like to minimize that around them for building space. And we'll bring this in and I'll raise it up twice because this is the my bus is too high. Now a good rule of thumb is run the belt to your highest point and then go down. If you were to, you could go back one and it may go past it, so I'll go back one here and then down. So I have to get rid of some of these. Oh, come in the wrong spot. I'm sorry. I want to go this line. That's fine, just give me a second. This line here. Okay, we'll go too high. Back one there, down to here. Okay, so then when running my bus through, it should not clip, as you can see. So you can normally go, I would normally run it to that edge and then come down, but that's fine, that's plenty of space. Like it won't be clipping there. And I've run it too high from the start, just if I want to run more belts like along this bus line. I know this is on the equator, but if I do want to run more ore in later. Okay, so that'll furnace that. Okay, now I want to work on my... Now before I get started on that, I'm going to need more landfill. Now I built a ring over here for landfill. And that's purely for... This setup right here is just landfill. I'm producing a lot of steel, so I could come over and run off this because that's a lot of steel. So I'm coming in, smelting into ingots. The ingots go into these furnaces and they furnace steel. Here I'm furnacing stone into stone brick, and then the steel and the stone brick together It's not landfill, sorry, it's just foundation. You need a lot of foundation, especially for mid to end game, because I'm just stockpiling it here. Usually take 3,000 to 5,000 out with you, but you also need soil. So when you're using the environmental modification, you can see here it states soil pile 156,000. So that is what's used to fill this ground, but you need to use your foundation. Now you can change your foundation style from your decoration, which is putting this pad down. Okay. And see the the vein restore. So when you go to an ocean world, there will be ore nodes under the water. And if you were to not use, if you use the vein restore and then fill the ground, it will bring the ore up with it. But if you don't use the veins, it'll just bring the ground up and leave the ore beneath the ground. Now this is, you can also use this one for stuff here. So if you were to use it here, see how it puts that node underneath the ground, but it's still there. So if you just swap that back, and here if you left click for this foundation decoration, you can select a clean grid, so it's quite tidy, or the one with the little dots in it. I normally just go no foundation. Okay, and I brought all those nodes back up, as you can see. Just because I just slap it straight on the ground, and it's all level. If I really wanted to, I could go through and, you know, make it all look really nice, like it's on a platform, but you got to line it up neat. You know, you can't just put it down wherever and go, oh, that looks okay. You have to work to these lines, and that can be quite time consuming. So I normally just go no decoration and I just go to town with it. Alright, so I'm going to need to landfill some of this. See what I mean? So it doesn't have to be pretty, where if you were using the decoration and you didn't get it nearly perfect like I just did, it can be like really tedious to try and get them exactly lined up. I have done this a few times, so I'm used to it now, but normally when I first started it was all over the place. So I just go no decoration and I can just do whatever I want. Okay, so let's come across, just going to fill all this water in. Now if you run out of soil pile, so I'm negative 44k now, just come over to where you can't see these grids anymore, the grid lines, okay? The grid lines are at a level line. So wherever the grid lines go higher up onto here, you can actually level this ground out and it will give you soil pile. So as you can see over here on the right, it says 89k just from that. So if I wanted to go through and clear all these trees, making room for production and pollution, I've got 171k, so I'm now all up. Alrighty, now I want to get started on this, on the motors. So, I like to build my cogs inside inside this factory. I don't like to bring in the cog line, because I'm building them over here into the bus. I don't like to bring that line down and then take off, because it will take them all. It will. And it just builds them too slow, so you build so many, it just pulls it up. So I build my cogs. We'll bring it in here. Yep. Oh no, wait. Sorry, I just have to get my head around how I did this. It's quite simple. Should be. So the electric motor in the middle, that also needs magnetic coil. So I make that here too, because it's quite, these are quite demanding. So I build it all here. All I need for this is the copper and the magnets. And the magnetic coil, you only need one of them. So it's not too bad to take that off the line, but you will need to upgrade your magnetic coil factory. Now, a handy tip when you're doing something like this, especially when you're automating your logistics, is you can put notes on here. So if you click on your belt, here it says memo icon. Okay, you can select what it's going to be. So let's bring in magnets on there, bring in copper ingots here, and this is going to be for my magnetic coils. Okay, here it's going to be bringing out motors. Oops. Okay, and here it's going to be taking in iron ingots. So here it'll be taking ingots, this will be taking ingots, and then go from the gear factory into the motor factory. Over here, I'd go in, out, from this factory to the motors. Okay. Now, this could just come. I'll probably go all the way down to my bus, and I'll show you why shortly. Okay, then I'll bring the bus down. So I'll go a little bit past and I'll show you why. I just wanted to film me building this one to give you an idea on why I run things the way I do. I'll just do those for now. So you could bring your magnetic coils in, but I like to hold on to those till later because these become quite demanding, especially when you get to the magnetic levitation technology. These need a motor and a magnetic coil, and that two of each. So these, at one point I'll set up an entire planet, possibly an entire planet or a star system, just in electromagnetic turbines, because you do need a lot of them. So now that I've got this here, right, what I do is I put a couple of these. Oh, and sorry, just to show you, I do 3 wide because a sorter can go 3 across. It can't go 4. Okay, so if I was to build another belt here and then a sorter, it won't get there. Okay, it can go here. So that's why I go 3, and then before I do my next line I'll go 2 and go here. Okay, the reason I go 2, a gap of 2, is because this, once I go up and over, it misses that belt. Okay, so what I do is I go to here, I click X, take that end one off, click on that and go down, and then I'm at a pretty good, I'm happy with that. Like, it doesn't clip, as you can see, it doesn't clip here. And this will be another bus line, if that makes sense. And then it's 2 wide. Where down here I double them up, and I'll show you in my next episode how I avoid that. But that's why I run my bus lanes 3 wide, because then I can take off this and onto this line. Okay, which is what I want to do. I just want to add 2 on here, right? And that's if this isn't keeping up with demand, this copper ingot line coming through will back that up. So that's why I've furnished it on this side, is because I can run this loop like this, and then these can help assist with demand. So, as I was saying before, if you were to build your line like this, and then go to put your arms on, like yes, yes, okay, and then no, it'll stretch out further, and that'll be extremely slow. As you can see, it says here, this one is 0.75 trips per second. This one will be 0.5 trips per second. Now the reason you can't, as you can see down here, I have those sorters on the bend. And how I did that was you build the first one first and then extend on. Okay, so I'll delete this, delete these two, then I'll put this sorter on that. Then I'll build the belt onto that. So it is a bit of back and forth there, and I mean you could just run this longer, right, and put them all on here, which you can do. I still do later on, like I may need to upgrade these or oh no. Okay, that was a bit silly. Okay, so that should work, especially if I power it up. Yes, but it's on the wrong line. Okay, so if you delete them off because I've just put on the wrong line, you pick that up, put this on, redo it. So I normally put a green one first and then a yellow, because it's a bit slower, just to help, you know, top that up, help the green one. And if it's slow enough, I'll just upgrade them later, but it's to help these. And if you need to pick these up, just select the end one, take them straight off. So then we'll run copper. Now copper is not coming through because I haven't linked it. Okay. So same deal with the copper. Run the first one. Fill the green one. See, these green ones need, like, you just need so many electric motors, it's crazy. Like that. Try and get this. It's not going to reach, that's fine. 10 of these. Put that for now. Put a storage box down to help pick up the motors, and you can limit the boxes. And I run another channel, another playlist. It's my Satisfactory movies, and I talked about, I believe in episode 2, about limiting boxes. So this storage box, right, you can get a big one, but this one houses up to 30 spots. So I'll go get some more. I'm out of power, I know. Let me just skip it forward here, okay, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've just gotten some power. So down here, as you can see, these are 200. So if I had, you know, if I had 30 spaces at 200, I'm looking at 6,000 circuit boards, and I just don't need that in storage. Okay, now if I was using this as a buffer, I might leave these all open and go out onto a belt, but I just don't need to do that. Like, I just run the belt, this stocks up, and I can take them from here as I need them. And that's how I like to play it. A lot of people are different, they like the buffer system. I haven't actually needed it right through to end game to buffer it. Like, as far as I'm concerned, the buffer is the belt line, right? You can store plenty on the belt line itself by the end of the bus. So, in my Satisfactory videos, you can't limit the storage. So, with that, you have to fully store a container, and they're like a 20-foot container. And I don't know if any of you have played Satisfactory, but it's just too much storage, and I've never needed that much on me at one time. So with Factorio, loved that game. I'm gonna do a channel on that later, but I love it. You can just limit how much goes into the box, and you can still put items in if you need to over the top of these reds, but the sorter won't fill it past that. And 4 is usually enough. Like, I don't need any more than 4 on me at any time. So I'll limit that to 4, like I did down there, you saw with those chips, as well as the magnetic coils. Now if I, picked up a belt line or tried to build another factory, as you can see, I can take that off and I won't put any in. With a 200 in on top, doesn't affect it. It's great. There are other games where you'll go to put that item in, it won't let you because you've blocked it off, but the space is still there. So at least with this game they've thought about that and done that, so I'm really happy. So this is the setup I like to run with, and you can just extend this on as much as you need until belts can't keep up with it. But it's usually down here by the time the belts can't keep up with it, because it is slow. So go through, we'll just power this up. Perfect. So that's working, just like that. Okay. Now I'll go through, I'll extend this so I have a decent amount of electric motors coming in. I'll run them onto the bus and I'll upgrade my bus line, because I've already got here 6 lines, so I need to then build another bus line ready to keep going down, keep moving forward. So yep, I've talked about everything I want to talk to. Okay, so I'll end the episode here, and thank you very much for watching. If they've missed anything or you want to know more, please leave a comment, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll bring out episode 3 not too far away. Thank you.